I was 9 years old at the line at Carl's Jr. and confidently said, I'm gonna have the baked potato and the French fries. And my parents said, no, you're not. You can't have 2 potatoes. You're gonna get fat. And I thought, well, I definitely don't want that. So that was the day that I learned the word restriction. And it would follow me my whole life through both my money journey and my eating journey. So in this episode, we are gonna bake brookies. That's brownie and cookies, 2 things you might not think go together, but actually really do. And I'm gonna go on search to answer the question, can you really have happiness if you are always over budget and you never lose those last 10 pounds? I got a lot I wanna say. Let's bake it out. All right, we are starting our brookies with our brownie layer. I have got a stick of butter here in the pan that we are just gonna melt down. There is something so incredibly satisfying about melted butter and melted chocolate when they come together. It's like the most perfect chocolate velvety symphony. I don't know. Then you're gonna pour in about 1/4 cup of chocolate chips and you're gonna let that melt. And you want this nice kind of just runny chocolate. It's almost like the most perfect chocolate fountain consistency. That is what's gonna create the base for your fudgy brownies. When I was thinking about this episode, you know, everyone always says to me, what is wrong with me? I can't stay on budget. It doesn't matter how much money I make. And I was really thinking about the parallels that run between budgeting and losing weight in the whole diet industry. And I think there's so much that they both have in common, because I think if we're willing to admit, and I'll be the first to admit it, I'm always trying to lose weight and I'm always trying to be better with my money. And no matter what I do, it feels like there's always a place of failure. So I feel like the diet industry and the money industry, they kind of sold us this cycle that, oh man, it's just really haunted me my entire life. I want to see if you can relate. It's restrict, binge, and then shame. And I feel like we go through it over and over again. Whether it's about your budget and spending money and always feeling like there isn't enough, and you feel like if you just had a better spreadsheet or a better app, everything would be perfect. But then you get another spreadsheet and you get another app, or you use AI and you're banging your head every month because you're like, this doesn't work. What is wrong with me, right? So then you restrict. So you pull back, you stop spending. And then you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't feel good. So then you go out and you wanna buy things. Like you have a day where you feel emotional, you wanna go out and buy things. And then you feel bad about that, and then you feel shame. And then you kind of go through that same cycle. And the same thing with losing weight, right? We restrict, then we binge. For me, I wanna go out and I wanna eat both potatoes and I don't care what it leads to, and then I feel shame. All right, once your chocolate mixture here is pretty cool, I say give it about 2 or 3 minutes. It's time to put in our room temperature eggs. It's really important to bring these to room temperature, otherwise we're just gonna get scrambled eggs, and nobody wants scrambled eggs in their brownie batter, certainly not me. I feel like this episode is so deeply personal that it's almost difficult for me to talk about it. In fact, I tried to film this episode yesterday and I got about halfway through, and my head and my nervous system just felt so scrambled that I was like, you know what? I just have to redo this episode today. And I'm a money expert. I'm a CFP. I have a book about money. I know all the rules. And I still really struggle with these topics. I feel like my whole entire life has been a struggle of money and feeling some sort of shame about where I'm at and that I should be further. And then also some sort of body shame, like I should weigh less. If I weighed 10, 20 pounds less, maybe everything would magically be better in the world for me. And I know that's not true, but that's just what happens in my brain. All right, so we're just gonna put in a little bit of vanilla. You can measure this. I just like to eyeball it. Again, I'm using this incredibly delicious vanilla. It is absolutely worth the price, but if not, you can just use whatever vanilla you have on hand. All right, to bring these brownies all together, we're gonna mix in our final ingredients. We've got some gluten-free, all-purpose 1-to-1 flour. We have got some cocoa powder, a little tiny bit of espresso powder. It really brings out these chocolate flavors, and a little salt. And that's it. This is how easy it is to make brownies. I mean, I don't see any reason why you need to buy a store mix ever again. Okay, quick timeout. We need a little pet from Joni because this stuff is heavy. I keep saying they did this to us, so I want to explain who they is. Quick history lesson. This one's free of charge. For most of human history, having a bigger body meant you just had more than enough. You could survive a famine. You were doing fine. Then somewhere around the Industrial Revolution, food got cheap and thin got expensive. Same decade, give or take, banks started handing out credit cards like Halloween candy. So in about 100 years, we built two brand new shames out of thin air: what you weigh and what you owe, and convinced everyone they'd always been there. Okay, time to get back to the bake. I feel better that this is not a me problem. This is a 100-year-old marketing problem that you and I both inherited. And I think we gotta do something about it. Right, Joni? All right, let's keep going. Our cookie layer is just as simple as the brownie layer. And again, you're gonna say, why don't I make more chocolate chip cookies at home from scratch? Because they really are that simple. It starts with our sugars. We've got plain sugar and brown sugar, and we're just gonna whip that together with another, yes, stick of butter until both are absolutely creamy and well mixed together. All right, then we've got to get in 1 egg yolk, and inevitably, I usually mess up on this part, so I'm trying to be really careful here. But if you mess up, you know what, and you get a little egg white in there, it's not the end of the world. I think that's sort of the motto of this episode, right? If we can just embrace that everything isn't the end of the world. So let's whiz this up real quick. Then we follow with another little bit of this delectable vanilla. You can eyeball it. The recipe is in the description, and yes, it will tell you the exact measurements. And lastly, we have got our flour and a little baking soda and some salt. This is what is going to make our cookie dough come together. So again, we're just going to mix this all together. The last thing we're gonna add in is our chocolate chips to really pull this dough together. Here's the thing. It's a 1/2 cup of chocolate chips. Could you add more? Sure. Could you add less? Sure. That is the beauty of this, is that you get to make this your own however you like it. I think I was 13, 12 or 13. I was in 6th grade in Mrs. Levy's class, and she was like the cool teacher. We did sex ed in 6th grade, and she was like the teacher that you wanted to have, right? If you're gonna put condoms on a banana, you want it to be in Miss Levy's class. I remember all of a sudden, like out of the blue, feeling so much body shame. I didn't feel like the cool girl. I didn't feel like I looked good enough. I didn't have long hair. It just kind of all came out of nowhere. And ever since then, I've never been able to let it go. It's just always followed me. Every room I walk into, I'm always thinking, oh, that woman, she is way prettier than me. Or if I could just lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds, everything would be great. And I started thinking about that recently, about what a tragedy it is that for most of my life, almost all my life, ever since that 9-year-old at Carl's Jr., I have believed that having money equals success. I've also believed that being skinny equals success. And if you don't have those two things, you're just somewhat doomed in life. And that just feels incredibly heavy to me. And I can't believe that I'm admitting this to you. And I also can't believe that I've held on to it for this long, but I don't really know how to shake it. It's so interesting. I wonder who borrowed whose playbook. Did the money system borrow the weight loss playbook, or did the weight loss playbook borrow from money? I don't know, but they all seem to be saying the same message. You're behind, you're never gonna look good enough, you're never gonna have enough money, you're always gonna need to be in and out of debt, and you're probably gonna feel like a piece of you-know-what for the rest of your life. Yeah, I know, that was deep. Sorry, I had to go there. All right, let's get back to this. So we're taking out all our frustrations on this cookie dough, and we're just dolloping it however you want on top of this brownie layer. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, it's probably gonna bake together anyway, but the idea is to let it be messy. And I feel like that is this whole journey. Let yourself go over budget. Let yourself spend money when you get in a fight with your partner or you get pissed off at work. Let yourself go out and make some brookies when you're not feeling great about yourself, because I feel like when we take away this process of giving ourselves permission, that is when we just go back into this cycle. All right, we have our cookie layer dolloped on top. We have our brownies on the bottom. This brookie is getting ready to go in the oven and fuse together. I like to finish it off with a little bit of sea salt. You don't have to do this. It's totally optional, but I just feel like the sea salt really brings out these flavors and really makes this brookie sing. These brookies, let's let them represent the story of me and the story of you, as messy and as chaotic and as delicious as we want it to be. Okay, these just came out of the oven, and again, I wish this was smell-o-vision. These smell absolutely amazing. They're gonna need to cool for about a half hour, so I'm just gonna set them aside. But I was thinking that the diet and the budget break because of the same reason. I think it's because, at least for me, I'm white knuckling it in every situation and every day. And I can't white knuckle in a scared body. I can't make good decisions. I can't make steady, empowered decisions when I am freaking out and I've got a nervous system that is just always ready to flare up. And so that's what I love about these, is that the cookies and the brownies, neither one of them apologized. They just said, hey, we're gonna work together. And it can be messy and it can still be delicious all in the same bite. And I feel like if I take anything from this journey of that 9-year-old in Carl's Jr. who was said, you can't have the two things because you're gonna get fat, I can say, yes, I can. Sometimes, not every day, but some days I can have both things together. All right, it is time for the taste test. As you can see, it is still gooey. I probably should have let it set a few more minutes, but this is gonna be absolutely amazing. I'm going in. It's gonna be messy. Oh, look at that. Oh. I need a minute. Wow. Can you see that? That is fudgy brownie. It is still melty and gooey. And that is chocolate chip on top. Whoever thought of this is just genius. This is the best combination. Oh. It is perfect the way it is. If you want to make it fancier, you could drizzle some chocolate on top. You could put a giant scoop of vanilla ice cream next to it, but I kind of feel like this is absolute perfection. So that's our bake today. We took childhood financial trauma, the diet culture, personal finance nonsense, budgeting, and we turned it into a beautiful dessert. And listen, whether you eat one bite, a nibble, or you eat the whole entire tray, I want you to know that two things do go together. And every time I look at this brookie from now on, it's just a reminder to myself that I can be happy, even if the budget never works out, and even if, yes, I never lose those 10 pounds. So do me a favor, if you want more Bake It Out episodes, please hit subscribe, like, comment, send these episodes to everyone you know so we can continue to grow this channel and we can just have more delicious bakes and conversations. And do me a favor, don't comment about how many potatoes actually go together, because I think sometimes 2 is the perfect combination. That is so good. So good. Wow.